Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody to this session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. As you know, we share information and experiences, perspective from different areas, or as we call them at this moment, industrial ecosystems. And today we are going to speak about the electronic industrial ecosystem and in relation with some of the main priorities of the European Commission, that are the circular economy, the Green Deal, and the digitalization, in fact. So the topic is waste management and recovery of metals from electronic devices. And to speak about that, we have two persons from Italy. Okay, Luca Campadello from Ecodon and Paolo Rosa from the Politecnico di Milano. Buongiorno, welcome. And I think that the first one will be Luca. I will try to give you now, Luca, the control of the presentation. Do you have it?
Yes. Tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes. Not in presentation mode for now. Would you change it? Perfect. Go on, please. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a good opportunity for me, for Ecodon, to discuss together with you the challenges that we are facing in the field of the electronic waste. Let me start telling you who is Ecodon. Ecodon is the largest Italian consortium that is managing the electronic waste. Our members are the manufacturers, the producer of refrigerators, washing machine, ovens, electronic appliances that were obliged, considering the standard producer responsibility concept, they were obliged to take care about the management of the end of life. And they do that responsibility thanks to our consortium. We manage electronic waste, but we manage also batteries and other kind of waste, and we will see them later. Now, considering the point of view of the cluster, I think it will be good to give you the overview of how our value chain is working. So you can see that everything starts on manufacturing, so from design to the assembly of parts to get the final product. Then the product is sold to retailers that will distribute the equipment to the consumers. Then it will start the use phase. After the use phase, the item became a waste, so it became a waste. It can go to the municipal picking points. What does it mean? The collection point that many cities has for collection of different type of waste. Or it is also possible to give it back to the retailer when the consumer buy a new appliance, substituting the old. Or if they are small equipment, they can be given back for free at the retailer's shopping point. From the collection point, it starts the responsibility of the consortium, so of Ecodon. So when they imagine the container full of electronic equipment, it can be a container full of refrigerators or full of television, is full. we are sending our logistic operators with a truck, collecting the full container and leaving an empty container to the municipal collection point. Then this container is transported to the waste treatment plant. In Italy, we have around 40 suppliers. This means that the supplier, the treatment plant, is located in the whole country. And what they do the treatment of the equipment, starting from disassembly, starting from an activity that we call depollution, so the removal of the pollutants. For a refrigerator, it will be the removal of the oil and the gas that contains ozone depleting potential, that has ozone depleting potential. For a television, it will be the removal, if it is an old television, so CRT, the removal of the fluorescent powder. And then the item is mainly shredded in bigger shredders that at the end we separate copper, iron with the magnet, plastics and non-ferrous metals that are sent to different destinations. So after the first treatment activities that is managed by Ecodom, it starts what we call the downstream channel. This downstream channel can be short or long. Short if, for example, for metals, where the easy destination it is a foundry for steel, so it's just one trip. For plastics, it could be, you can see I put only one box, but it could be many boxes, because that could be the first step, which will be washing of the plastics, separating by density, and then other steps that step by step recycling the flakes, the shredded flakes of plastics, obtaining at the end a compound, new secondary pellet to be sold to be enter into the market again. And then there are materials or substances that cannot be recycled, like I was telling to you, the volatile fluorocarbons that by law they cannot be recycled, particular type of rubbers, particular type of plastics for which technologies are not available now for recycling, so they go to incinerators or landfill. So this is just to give you the idea that if we speak about we are speaking of a complex ecosystem made by different actors, from producers, manufacturers, till recyclers. Who is Ecodom? Ecodom, we have more than 100 members, means more than 100 producers, and we manage 36% by weight of all the we collected. This you will see means more than 100,000 tons of waste managed from around 5,000 picking points around Italy, with a level of service that is near 100%. What does it mean this? The level of punctuality in collecting the container when it is full, so in removing the problem to the municipalities. This will be a point that I will touch when we will go to speak about the COVID impact. The waste manager allow to obtain more than 100,000 tons of secondary raw materials that enters again into the recycling cycle, avoiding the emission of CO2 and saving energy, considering the fact that with secondary raw materials, we do not have to mine new materials from the planet. These are other numbers, but I will go quickly. Materials recycled brings to 90% of the total weight of we managed. And this is just to give you an idea of how the electronic waste looks like. This is a container and an empty, what was inside the container of small household appliances. You can see vacuum cleaners, laptops, printers, tools for gardening. It is really an heterogeneous stream. And this we bring to the attention points of our world, of our sector. The first, I want to underline, it is the leakages. So, in the most recent report from United Nations on the way it is called the Waste Monitor, you can see that only 17% in the world of all the waste that has been generated has been properly collected and recycled. What does this mean? That 80% of the waste are managed according to very low standard. So we can make this hypothesis that we are managed just for recycling the metals, forgetting about the plastics and the hazardous components that the wheat contains. In Europe, the situation is slightly better. It is only 1/3 the wheat that are properly managed, but in Italy it is the same. So it is estimated that 700,000 tons of waste, electronic waste is missing in Italy. So they are not missing. They are in the end of cash shredder, let's say, or a scrap dealer interested only in metals. Then another phenomenon, it is the fact that mobile phones, laptops, very small for a sentimental point of view from the fact that Italians, but also people have different things to do and do not care about small items, we keep a small in our drawers. So even if we will not use them anymore, we keep it in the drawers without throwing them back, so without disposing them at the collection point. This is another issue. So if citizens do not bring the waste to the collection points, it is difficult that the sector will start. Then there are the CRN, critical raw material issue. The attention from Europe is high to guarantee independence from monopolistic situation like China. But the situation now it is that at industrial scale, it is difficult to find a solution that will be, even if not economically sustainable, that will be sustainable from a technical point of view. So many projects is handled on this point, but with non-big solution reached an industrial scale. Plastics, too many polymers. You see how many different type of waste we collect. This brings too many polymers at the end of the treatment line, and it is very difficult to separate them properly. So giving them a quality recycling rather than downcycling. Then preparation for reuse. Preparation for reuse, what does it mean? It will be good if we can extend the life of the waste. So taking a waste, maybe substituting some components. Let's take the example of washing machine. If we can take a washing machine, substitute the pump, the printer circuit board, and sell it again to the secondary market. This will be taking a waste and selling a product. The name is preparation for reuse. Experiences of this in Italy, but also in Europe, are lacking. They are not at industrial scale. Mainly, they are social initiative with very low volumes. This it is because there is a lack of support from manufacturers and lack of support of legislation pushing for this initiative. Many initiatives are ongoing to trying to solve the challenges I was explaining, from education, from the development of new business model and innovative technology. I will not go into this, but this is just for you as a reference of the European projects we are running, trying to solve that point. An example on plastics, it is a tentative to remove the hazardous substances like brominated flame retardants that we have in all the equipment disposal. So brominated flame retardants that are inside the plastics of all the equipment needs to be removed if we want to recycle the polymers. We are running a project together with VTT, a Finnish research center, trying to find a solution to this. For the CRM topic, you will see that the contribution of the recycling to the production of secondary critical raw materials is very, very limited. You can consider many of the CRM in the group of the lanthanides. And going to the COVID impact, what happens? I will go to this figure that will explain. From the lockdown in February, you will see that the quantities of weed that we collected in the whole country decreased a lot, to 1/3. This was because people cannot go out, cannot dispose their weed. It was difficult to buy a new EED, and so to give back the old equipment. The good point is that if we look to the numbers of May and June, the collection increased more than the previous year. And what we did in the lockdown period, we asked to the rules, so the rules we have for doing the collection. You remember, we do collection at 99.8% of the service level. So if the collection point of Milan is calling because they have the container full, we go. And we go in 2 days. During the lockdown, we put longer intervention times to 5 days. So to give the possibility to the logistic operator that was not having the full capacity of his employees. So that was having less trucks on the road, so the possibility to do the intervention. Then we selected only the necessary intervention to be done. So if there was a small picking point that was calling just for the take back of 2 washing machines, we tell him, please wait, we will come when the emergency will stop. And then we increase the formal storage limits. What does it mean? Treatment operators cannot sell their secondary raw materials. So they were storing iron, copper, plastics, going over the permitted limits. So we have this exemption that the permitted limits were increased on the side of the secondary raw materials and also on the side of the we stored, because their capacity to do the treatment of the we was lower, considering they will not have the same number of employees. That's all. I will leave everything, all your comments to the session of questions and answers. Thank you for your attention.
Grazie mille, Luca. Now we introduce Paolo Rosa from the Politecnico di Milano. Paolo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome. And I am giving you the presentation rights.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. So from Politecnico Milano, I'm presenting today one of our projects dedicated to the circular economy. The name is Phoenix. Phoenix is an Horizon 2020 project that is focusing on the development of new kind of business models for the efficient recovery of secondary materials in extended supply chains. The project started at the 1st of January of 2018, and this is the last year of the project. You can find several details on the project also on the website. The consortium is constituted by 10 different partners from all over Europe. Essentially, we are speaking about automation companies, universities specialized in a specific kind of activities related to circular economy, or we are speaking about additive manufacturing companies, and also some research centers dedicated to social impacts assessments. Essentially, the main objectives of the project are the definition of new kind of business models and the implementation of novel supply chains, focusing on the recovery of different kind of materials from wastes. Demonstrate through these new supply chains how a set of dedicated pilot plants can really implement a circular economy at small scales in order to support the evolution of processes toward information sharing also with the private users, not only industrial users. This way we can prove how the production process flexibility could be exploited to reuse, reconfigure the capacity of the pilot plants, but also production processes, and enable the integration and the development of new different business models. Our specific objectives are related to three kinds of activities. First of all, the development of green metal powders for additive manufacturing. The second one is dedicated to the 3D printing of jewels. And the last one to the development of advanced filaments for 3D printing processes. Second aim of Phoenix is the demonstration, the representation of a set of success stories coming from the adoption of circular economy in different industrial sectors. To this aim, we are exploiting three different pilot plants already existing. One of them is the Industry 4.0 lab from Polytechnic of Milano. The second one is the hydrometallurgical pilot plant from the University of L'Aquila. And the last one is a high energy ball milling pilot from MBN, that is the Italian company dedicated to the metal powder production. The third aim is the integration of different kinds of key enabling technologies for the efficient recovery of raw material. These are essentially advanced manufacturing systems like different kinds of Industry 4.0 technologies, industrial biotechnologies like biometallurgy and hydrometallurgical processes. And the last one is nanotechnologies, because we are speaking about a characterization of particles dedicated to metal powders. Okay, so the concept is essentially the transformation of a linear supply chain that is traditionally starting from the concept, going through the production and use of products and then the disposal to a circular one. In which way? Trying to start from electronic wastes, also in this case we are speaking about electronic wastes, we can transform them through a set of different processes in variable secondary raw materials, transform them and shape them in order to be adopted in additive manufacturing processes, and then produce new products. Essentially, depending on the kind of material that we can extract from electronic waste, the material goes through a different path. In general terms, base metals become metal powders, precious metals become 3D printed jewels, and non-metal, a kind of non-metal powder become advanced filaments for 3D printing processes. In order to make it happen, the electronic waste is first of all disassembled at the Industry 4.0 lab of Politecnico. Essentially, in Politecnico, we are taking the PCB extracted from the electronic waste, in this case, smartphones. We desolder all the components from the main boards. All these components are sent to the University of L'Aquila, and through a hydrometallurgical process, we can recover a specific kind of materials. These materials are transformed in metal powders and then sent to additive manufacturing processes that can produce different kind of materials. And that's all. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, thank you. Sorry, I was activating my microphone. So, congratulations for the project, for all the activities. I have a comment.
Yeah.
For Luca, sorry, because here in Spain, I know, because I have been receiving some information during the last days that we are experiencing an increase of the sales of home appliance and the population is investing money on the renewal of their homes. I suppose that this is related with the increase on the taking of old machinery that you were speaking about. Do you have numbers or yes, temporary numbers from July on this point? Because some big company here in Spain told me that they have never ever sell so many home appliances as now, and it's the biggest company in Spain on this area.
Yes, we do not have yet numbers for July. We are collecting number of the put on the market monthly. So in mid-August we will get the number of the selling of July. But if you remember the graph that I showed you in June, already in June, the collection was 150% more than the June of 2019. And considering the market is mainly a substitution market, so when you dispose an electronic equipment when you buy a new one, the collection is strictly related to the sell. So we can say that in June and maybe in July will be more. The sell was at least half more than the sell of June and July 2019. So it is a similar trend we are experiencing in Italy.
Yeah, and the problem is that that company told me also that they were suffering problems with the supply chain during the COVID, and now that they have a surplus of orders, they are suffering even more problems because the supply chain is not totally recovered. So
yes, it is an issue of employees. So find additional capacity from cooperatives. There will be that kind of issue. At the general level, I read in the newspaper that they are expecting the sell in total 2020 will be around 20% less than the sell of 2019. So maybe it will be June and July big selling, but it is just because the lockdown was finished, and then the people that need a refrigerator in March, they buy it in June. But at the general level, maybe this will be just a peak, and then the situation will be stable.
This is a general idea, okay? So it's nothing scientific, but the general comment is that perhaps people that has been spending a lot of time at home and that haven't spent the money in holidays, it has decided to renew where they are living and where they expect to have to live again, perhaps in the winter. And that will be not so temporary, I think, if it is true. I don't know. It's something to think about.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, it's something to look for confirmation in the next month. I agree.
Can I make a question?
Welcome,
Antonio.
Athanasios. For sure.
Yeah, welcome. Nice to see you. The topic is extremely interesting. I have two questions actually. One is for Luca. He mentioned a large amount of plastics that are not really reused and they are moving away. And I would like to say that we are now attempting a process that actually converts all plastics, irrespective of their structure, into a reusable form. And we were looking for either making a consortium or even making an initiative across the Cluster Alliance to move this forward. If you have numbers, the numbers I have seen that you have from Italy would be more than sufficient to really make a very profitable operation. So all these plastics that are not being recycled or put back into use, what is their fate? Are they being dumped? And the other question that I have is with respect to the Phoenix project and this kind of approaches in general, do they have also with them a type of return on investment analysis, meaning what kind of energy you need to expend in order to recover all these materials, and how is this process, because it is a learning process, it is an evolutionary process, how is it improving over the years? Because right now my impression is that we don't have parity with the normal way of obtaining these materials. In other words, how long before the concept of urban mining will be equally competitive or more than extraction from natural resources?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Luca, please.
So for the first question on plastics, we have numbers so about the Italian market, the Italian availability of plastics, and also some analysis to share if you want, so that you can have a look to the different polymers we have and to which is the fraction that today it is an issue for the recycling. So with this information and the volumes, I think you will have the elements to evaluate if the process you are working on could target also the plastic from electronic waste. If I correctly understand your question. For the second point for Paolo, let Paolo, if you want to answer, then I have a point of view on that.
Yeah, essentially, from the point of view of the Phoenix project, we are going on with different analysis about the profitability, the environmental impact of our activities, and also social impacts. But I don't have now this kind of data because they are handed by another company, not by Politecnico. So I cannot give you some more details. However, we are proceeding in this way because one of the main objectives of the Phoenix project is to develop something that is profitable and can be sold to the market, because there are several companies from the WE management sector that are interested in buying this kind of pilots. So we are also considering the profitability of our process, not only the environmental impact.
Yes, if I can add on this, I agree on the point of view, and the additional point would be that currently the end of life of the printed circuit board, it is big smelters in the center and in the north of Europe. Big smelters means big amount of energy needed for recycling the metals. So I can confirm that I see a positive scenario, the scenario where rather than big plants, there could be a capacity of treatment that can burn at the national level, so at local level, being capable to treat the amount of waste that in the territory are generated. So there will be a part related to the environmental, to the energy, the economic sustainability, but also to the social sustainability intended, like giving work and giving possibility to perform job not with big energy demand.
I'm sorry, I missed your answer with respect to what happens to these plastics that are not recycled, this large volume that you mentioned. They get buried into...
What happens to what is not recycled? It is incinerated. I was thinking you were interested in knowing which kind of plastic is incinerated today.
Okay, so yeah, because our process is not in incineration, is to put the plastics back into use, into the production chain. I would be interested if you can, get my email from Antonio, who has it, to have a discussion with you about some possibilities on this type of plastics that are currently incinerated, but they could be actually, used more productively in the supply chain again.
Again, no problem.
That will be very interesting, Athanasios, and if you want, we could invite even more clusters across Europe that could be interested in that process. If you
Antonio, I will talk to you about it, because it is something which is very, very recent and very new, a breakthrough. And I think that given this strong interest in the waste and the recycling and the fact that all these materials need to be sourced and in an efficient manner, and this has been already going on. This is impressive what happens in Italy. I think this would be a perfect demonstration scale activity that could involve, obviously, many other clusters that do similar things.
Perfect. Thank you, Athanasios.
Antonio, hello. I'm Giacomo Copani from... Hi, Antonio, from AFIL, the Lombardy Cluster on Advanced Manufacturing.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I wanted to give my contribution in order to frame a little bit the presentations that Luca and Paolo gave into a wider regional strategy on circular economy. So as I had the opportunity to present a few weeks ago, Lombardy region stated that circular economy is a priority of its smart specialization. And in fact, we have a regional roadmap where all the research and innovation priorities on circular economy, they are stated, including the ones related to COVID. So the AFIL cluster, together with Ecodom and Politecnico di Milano that are members, as many other stakeholders, they defined such priorities for the Lombardy region, and the roadmap was ready. Then COVID came. And so Lombardy region said, okay, what should we do? Should we include something related to the COVID? The answer was yes. And especially one big issue that was introduced was the need of having very flexible recycling and treatment systems in order to adapt over time to the varying volumes and typologies of materials and products to be treated due to disruptive events such as COVID, but also many others. So what I wanted to say is that this business case, also in order to bring the discussion at the cluster and regional level, this business case is part of a regional strategy on circular economy that is accessible to any regions, because we as Lombardy region would like to cooperate in European value chains on circular economy. And you can find there detailed priorities, including the ones on the research topics that were presented by Paolo and Luca, and including also the COVID ones. So please consider also this cluster-based framework of cooperation.
Please don't hesitate to send me any references or documentation that I could share with those interested. But thank you very much for the comment. Okay. I see Dolores.
Sorry, Antonio. I'm also involved in a project with several entities and universities where we're using the waste of metals for creating a way of 3D printing, a different way of 3D printing. So that's also interesting. If someone is in that, I'll be glad to share also and to share in both ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurora. Perfect. I was going to invite Dolores to share with us her comments.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I have several questions. The first one is to Athanasius. I think that the process that you mentioned is based on chemical recycling processes. What I know about that is already well known for PET, but I know that there is process to process all type of plastics, but then the output obtained, the quality of output, there is room to improve it. And also there are a lot of subproducts that can be also a waste. If you can comment a little bit more about that. And the second question is for all the attendees. Is there already an affordable and feasible technology solution to try to recover and separate the black plastics? That I think that is a big problem. Thank you.
Hi, Dolores. I can answer actually, as I sent you also a message. It's not a chemical process, and it generates no waste. I'm quite familiar with chemical processes for the waste. This is a novel process that does not, it puts back the plastics into the feed stream of the supply chain of the petrochemical industry, but it does not generate any waste. Actually, on the issue of the black plastics that you mentioned, in addition to also other colored plastics, we also have there a development that allows to decolorize the plastic. So actually, I consider today's talk one of the, let's say, not so traditional ones that we have been doing for so many months on the COVID and post-COVID responses, but maybe it can nucleate some new approach to treat these issues. So I understand the issue of unrecyclable plastics and how to put them back into the value chain in an economic way. Obviously, this is a matter that involves it's not an easy way to do it. Otherwise, people would have done it, but it is not it is not impossible to do it. And in fact, there is a breakthrough that allows us to do it. And with respect to the black plastics that you mentioned, black plastics, they contain within them various pigments, and so far there have been chemical approaches to decolorize them, but there are also other approaches that are more environmentally compliant. And if there are clusters or companies that have access to such materials in a large scale that we could think about a pilot or demo plant, I think we should use the opportunity to discuss about it and see how we can move how we can move forward.
Okay, thanks, Athanasius. Just a last question. So, as you mentioned, is the petrochemical process. So it means that it's heating and distillation process when you feed again the plastics in the supply chain. Is based on this kind of you use heat and then distillation process.
I don't know, Dolores. I don't know if Athanasius has problems with the, but you could continue the dialogue through email if you want, okay? And I am sure that you could get details from him. Okay, so any other question, comment from the rest of the attendees?
Good morning.
Hello.
My name is
Antonio. Okay.
Sorry? Go on, please.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
I would suggest about this topic is very important, but I can mention, for example, in Portugal, is a small country. Is important and very important the recycling, and I think a big topic it was, for example, repair and refurbishment. For example, telecommunications, some operators have 2 million units in the field. And if they don't repair and recycling, or in this case refurbishment, everything could go to scrap. And if the government and some units promote more the repair and the refurbishment, I think is much better. In save a lot of material can go for the recycling and for scrap.
I see, and I think it will be also wonderfully we design the products to be more durable. That will be another big change in the right line, the right way, I think. Are you working on that, Enrique? Are you working with that kind of repairing processes?
Yes, in our company, we are specialists in assembly, but we do the recycling for some products. In this moment, only for Portugal, but when to go for the rest of the Europe to do the refurbishment and repair. In this case, recycling the product, because only can remove only some damaged parts, and the rest can go for the market again.
Thank you. Okay, there was another person that wanted to speak. I don't know who is it. Sorry.
It was me, Antonio, and Luca. The question I have is, do you foresee in the future the possibility that a cluster for electronic waste can be set up, or it's to a too focused sector so that it is difficult to have initiatives like the one we have with AFIL or in manufacturing? What do you think?
I am not a specialist on your sector, so I could not answer with a right knowledge. Okay, I am sure that because you know that the green is a high priority at a European level. I am sure that you have strong opportunities to collaborate across Europe on which could be called the Euro clusters or joint cluster initiatives, and I am near sure that that could be one very good proposal for the Commission if we were able to build some kind of proposal coordinating activities through different clusters working on your area, your sector across Europe. I will say that it should be very interesting. Okay, so I see big possibilities. But I would like to hear the rest of the attendees on this point. Do you see the opportunity and the interest of it?
Antonio, Marek is speaking, European Commission. I think definitely at the EU level, but you might think as well having something like this at local level, which can emerge from the collaboration as a completely new emerging value chain and bringing together actors working exactly on this. So I think that at EU level, this is exactly what we are aiming, but we shouldn't forget that at local level, what you already, so the local security is even maybe much, I mean, effective even more because it is with local communities, and we have examples that this is effective. Yeah?
Can I say something on this, Antonio, on what just Marek said? That local is very good, but in sometimes you need also the scale. And what I think is implied here is that there could be large regions. I know that around the Mediterranean, because it's easy to transport materials cheaply, by boat, for example, that one could think of setting up a kind of collective treatment of electronic waste, exploiting to a very large extent the abundant renewable energy that exists in the area. So one can think, at different scales, and eventually, considering also how much this north-south divide is still going on, we could also think of vertical transport, routes by which we can bring electronic waste from all over Europe to the south, where there is abundance of renewable energy, and use this in order to revalorize them or to process. I think this is an initiative for a cluster alliance to look, and maybe this can have organization at 3 levels, both the local, because it involves the logistics, the collections, and so on, but the processing must be done in a centralized or appropriate, economically viable facility, and at the same time, it should be worldwide, European-wide. Otherwise, we run at the problem that the Scandinavian countries run when they started to do their waste incineration and so on, that they have to import from everywhere else because they don't have the amount of waste necessary to feed these plants. And this is a very tricky issue, but I think it serves as a novel way, as a novel initiative for the alliance to think about it.
Yeah, here in Spain, I know that there is one company that is specialized on recycling, that is Ecoembes, and I think this is a national level company. And I repeat, I am not an expert, but I think that Athanasios is right, and that this is something where size and the science is important to accumulate the right numbers. Okay,
I can give you one pointer, which is the following. You are all familiar with the so-called coal regions in transition, because there are regions in the Union that have to be, in transition in the post-lignite, let's say, phase. There are regions like this in Poland, in Germany, in Greece, where 70% of the power of the country is generated, very nearby where we are, and in Spain. So these regions in transition, they could actually be, test beds or eventually, be revived by putting such kind of operations there, because there is also abundance of renewables. So this is what I'm talking about when I refer to synergies, not necessarily, doing the processing locally, but generating the scale. And to generate the scale, you need all the IT technologies, all the logistics, all of this supporting infrastructure that you are very well familiar, Antonio. And it's not an issue of specialists. We are really, at a point where we need very open discussion and ideas, because the specialists will always promote what they know and what has been already in the industry for a long time. And normally innovation does not come from the specialists. This is maybe a little bit provocative comment, but it's still early in the morning, so I can say that. Thank you.
Yeah, very welcome. More comments and point of view about that. That's very, very interesting. We are speaking now about the next steps, the future. More proposals or ideas.
Yeah, good morning from Berlin, Germany, to the rest of the group. I have a question for Luca. You talked about smartphones or mobile phones and the problem that they are lying in the drawers of some private persons, for example. What do you think of like a deposit for the resources, especially when it comes to mobile phones and smartphones and other smart, let's call them smart devices? Like a deposit system, you can calculate the value of the resources, and then you can have a cashback for your next product, let's say. What do you think about this?
It is a point. Sometimes we have the temptation to do this. So to give a reward to the consumer who will do the right thing, giving it back. That is not seen as the perfect solution. I mean, the solution that we are dreaming, it is one where consumer is aware of the fact that if he's keeping the smart device, old smart device that he will never use again, in his house, this is a damage to the environment because he forced us to do mining in China of the valuable material. So our dream is that people will be educated and aware about the environmental impact of their action. For sure, if you put something like a reward, then people start to do a thing without putting their mind, without understanding the value of the action. So it is a scenario we never explore. If think about something like a deposit, so that I pay more at the beginning, and then I will get back this more at the end. This is again another scenario we never explore, but in principle I'm not against to that. Maybe it could be the way to start the fact that, like for glass bottles, people knows that it is better to give them back rather than putting on the common undifferentiated bin. Maybe it will be an opportunity to start the movement, and we never test this. What we are testing it is going to the schools, doing education, facilitate the disposal. So we put a smart bin in supermarkets for free. People in a place where they go 1 or 2 times per week, they see this smart bin that is asking, bring here your old mobile phone. And we saw that even without a deposit, a cashback, something, people do that. So I think it is just a matter of awareness. And when we made initiatives more near the citizen answer. So maybe deposit is not necessary. It could be an idea for an experiment. But the main point for us it is to build the infrastructure near the citizen so that it will be easy to dispose. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if someone is interested, we have a small company in Germany for smartphones. It's called Shift Phones, and they try it. They have the experiment, and they try to give a deposit. You get a certificate for a deposit on your resources. And if your smartphone, which is modular built, that's an important point. And if it is totally broken, you can give it back and get your cash back for the resources. I don't know if they have like the impact paper in English. I will look it up and put it in the chat if someone is interested.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the contribution. Okay. I think it's time to close. Thank you, everybody, for all your contribution to the session. I am sharing in the screen the agenda for next week. Okay. We will make a break during August, so next week will be the last one on this period. We will end this month with something like 130 sessions from middle March, 4 months, more than 4 months, the first 2 days of the next week will be dedicated to make a review of our activities during those 4 months, who are we, who are participated, and also during Tuesday we will speak about the different disruptions. We have detected something like 90 different disruptions during those 4 months, and we want to make a general review of them with you. And all of this is just to think about the future. What can we do in the second semester of this year? Okay, we will dedicate Wednesday to the cosmetic value chains, but on Thursday and Friday we will speak about the role of clusters in the European recovery plans, and we have invited different people from several governments. I have confirmation from regional governments from Belgium, the national government of Italy, and Romania, Poland. We will see. Okay, well, we will see. No, I will send to you the details shortly. Okay, you are invited to participate, also to share the list of events or sessions to your contact network, and to contribute with your ideas about the next step on this continuous dialogue. Okay, thank you everyone, and see you soon. I hope next week or tomorrow if you want. Okay, with the recap.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Have a nice day.
Very good session. Thank you.